The American consumer is on its last leg till everything is going to go to shit. And how do I know? Well, this is going to be the video where I'm going to tell you what is actually going on and why I'm doing these videos. So, first of all, let's look at some numbers and some facts, like always. So, foreclosures are on the rise. So, if you have not been following me, you know that I'm always about data and I always show where I got these numbers from. So this was from Fox Phoenix, and Phoenix has some of the highest foreclosure rates in the nation, right? So might be Phoenix, who knows? We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Americans' credit card debt on the rise. Why would that be? Why would America credit card debt be on the rise? People need to pay their bills. They can pay that with a credit card. So maybe they put their lifestyle on a credit card because they just can't pay their bills, right? So then, how do you get to work? Well, you have a car. Well, millennials are losing their cars by the droves. So car repos are through the roof. So if you have a car and you're behind on your payment, they're going to come repo it. And if you paid over asking price, you're going to be in it to win it. They're going to come and get it. So not looking good. Not looking good. So now I have another stat for you. Rolex watches, the luxury watch brands, are down. When you type in values of watches, those are down. Now you're like, well, watches don't really have to do anything with the economy, right? Well, it does. So stick with me right now. We're going to watch a news anchor talk about the consumer price index. So let's look at that one real quick.
This lesson defines the difference between disinflation and deflation. But first, we got to tell you about inflation. Inflation is when prices rise like a balloon. They inflate and go higher, but the purchasing power of your money stays the same. The experts say that a little bit of inflation is fine. They like to see it around 2%. But back in June of 2022, the rate of U.S. inflation skyrocketed to 9%. That's 40-year highs, mostly because demand for goods and services. We're talking about food and plane tickets and, jet skis. Well, the demand was sizzling post-pandemic. But the global supply chain, I know, we all have PTSD from the clogged global supply chain. Post-pandemic just wouldn't move. And so supply of these goods went down, but demand was still high. That means prices go up. This little guy, he couldn't even afford his Ray-Bans. They were so expensive. Now, since that 40-year high, the supply chain logjam has finally broken up because little beavers came in to chew up the logs in the form of the Federal Reserve, which hiked interest rates that cooled demand. Now, that's called disinflation, when the rate of inflation slows. That's considered good by economists. But when the rate of inflation falls below zero, that's called deflation. And this morning, we got the latest consumer price index. That's the read on consumer inflation for the month of June. It went negative, down 0.1%. It's not the worst number in the world, but why is that bad? Okay, you would think falling prices are good. Well, it means that demand is down and that businesses are now worried they'll be stuck with a bunch of product on their shelves, and they don't want that, so they start to cut prices. Okay, you may love it, but economists do not. They see it as an economic chill in the air. And you know what often follows deflation? Job cuts.
So we just watched this person that's actually, gives some pretty good indicator on what is going on. So companies actually purchase goods and services they paid a lot of money for those because of supply chain and whatnot. Now they're sitting on them and people are not buying. So what do they need to do? They need to lower the prices. So when you buy something for $10 and you want to sell it for $12, you have 20% margin, right? But now, because nobody's buying and the American consumer is tapped out, you need to sell it for $9. And who's going to take that loss? The business owner. For Amazon, Walmart, that is not an issue. They can do that all day long and they'll be fine. They'll weather out the storm, right? But for other people, it doesn't work like that, right? And so what keeps Americans going? Jobs. So if you have a job, you can outgrow your debts. You can outdo your, your house foreclosure. You can refinance your car. You get to get another car. You get to buy another Rolex watch. You can do all that. So rich people own businesses most likely, right? They make their money somehow. And when they stop buying Rolex watches, that means that they have to have the money, or this is my prediction, that they need to have the money if they're smart and say, hey, I do not know what's coming in the market, and I do not know if I need to write a huge check to keep my company afloat for the upwards trend, right? And if I need to keep a few $100,000 in my bank account because I need to sell products at a loss that I've purchased for, because I just need to stay in business, right? And I need to sell them at a loss. I cannot go out and buy jet skis, cars, Rolex watches, and luxury travel destinations, right? So now these people aren't spending the money. So watch prices go down because demand's not there, right? So there is so much stuff going on, and you guys need to be super informed what's going on, because I get a bunch of people telling me, Rico, I don't like my job. What should I do? And I'm telling you, hold it out. If you don't like it, it's better to not like your job and still live in your house and still have your car than actually lose everything, because right now it's so tough. If you go on LinkedIn and you look at job, that's what I tell people. If you're like, I want to switch jobs or whatnot, go on LinkedIn and see how many jobs opening there are for you. And if you can barely find one, stick to it and start to like it. Because if you're not going to like your job, somebody else will at a 20% pay cut. And your company might be like, hey, let me just take that guy's job. And your boss, if your boss knows that you don't like the work and you don't want to be there, then he might be like, hey, it's time to let this guy go and get his replacement and save 20%. So be cautious. And for me doing these videos, I just want to keep you guys informed to make the right decisions, because there's nothing worse than making the wrong decisions in the wrong time. And when you have a job, you can go on vacations, you can do all these things. And you need to know, because not everybody's job searching all the time. I'm around people that are looking for jobs 24/7. So I have a little bit more of an insight, because Allie's, Career Catalyst, the little membership, that she has, where she talks about, where she helps people find jobs. There's people there all the time with master's degrees and they've been working for 5-6 years that right now can't find a job. So you guys got to be super alert and aware what's going on. And I had a conversation in one of my videos that said he's a driver for UPS, and they don't want to hire a new driver. They just work the existing drivers way more hours, so they don't need to get new drivers, because then they're like, we just paid overtime because we think demand's going to dry up. So we just work these people right now about 10, 11 hours. And then later on, once it's going to drop, we're going to stop working them so much because demand's going to dry up. So it is very, very important that you guys know what's going on. And if you guys are knowing, and if you know that that people got fired via via FedEx, email, that also gives you a sense of community, because you guys are not alone. If you look at these comment sections of some of the people here, and the person that actually got secured out by security, thanks for sharing that, because probably a bunch of other people also felt like that. They just didn't want to say it. And you always watch my videos. I really appreciate you. Still in Switzerland, so we'll meet on Zoom when I get back. So yeah, it's crazy. So all these people are in hurt, and I'm not making these videos for people just to splur the news. There's enough news out there already about it. I'm making these videos so people that are not in the job market, that are not looking, are not that active in it, that don't like their job, they're thinking about, changing, are going to, or know what's going on. And once you know what's going on, you can make a pretty informed decision about it. And sometimes I think we as Americans have it so good, and sometimes we as Americans have it so shitty, because profit over everything. And it's going to change, because if nobody can buy your products, your profits are going to come down, and rich people or business owners need to pony up money to give a discount because nobody's buying, but nobody has jobs. So it's like a downward cycle, right? You bought your product at $10. You try to sell it at 12, nobody bought it. So you decrease it to 11, nobody's buying it. You try to sell it at 10, nobody's buying. You decrease it at 9, nobody's buying. You put it into 8 and you get a few bites. And you know this is where the market's at. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm losing 20%. And we're seeing that with dealerships with cars, right? They're trying to sell their cars, but they kind of can't find takers. And so even though there's a huge surplus on cars and you can get a pretty good deal, they're still not biting and buying them. So it's not that simple. And I just hope that you guys on my videos get some value out of it and be like, yo, this is valuable. I'm looking at it, and trim their spending. And so I did a poll on YouTube and I said, what would you cut first? And it's not a scientific poll at all means, because you need a whole bunch of data. And if you ever taken statistics, you kind of know how screwed they are. And so I got a bunch of people that said dining out, they're going to cut. And some people actually commented, I've already cut everything. And so when I'm looking at it like, man, if you're cutting everything out, that means your money's not being in circulation, right? That means it's going to be way harder for these businesses to stay afloat, and they're going to have a chain reaction where your neighbor's going to be let go. That neighbor's going to have another neighbor let go. Like you're here, here's your neighbor, here's your other neighbor. You're not, you have a job, but you're not going to your neighbor's store. And then this guy's not going to go to this store, so he needs it closed, and then he needs it closed, and then he needs it closed. So it's in a downward spiral, and I feel like we need political leaders that look at it into the eyes, and they're starting to slowly wake up and be like, yep, this is not the right direction. This is not the right way how we should run the country. And I'm not talking about Democrat or Republican. I just need stuff to work. I need the interest rates to come down because it's just not going well. And I see that with foreclosures, all these auto loans, delinquencies, and all these companies that are laying off people. And so now we're looking at it like, what's next? What is next to fold, right? Which industry is going to be impact, right? And yeah, profitability for the first quarter might still be up. Let's see what the next quarter is going to be. Let's look at the next year. Let's look at this year. And I think November is going to be interesting. October, November is going to be pretty interesting. But you can't live your life from election to election cycle, right? So you need to plan now and try to make your moves and do all that. But you can't really make your moves unless you have the right tools and the right knowledge to do so. And I feel like you really need to be sure to use all the information and then pick what's best for you. So, yeah, I hope this kind of helped you guys a little bit, because you guys just gotta hold it out, weather it out, and see, what's up, what's next. Because nothing is worse than making the wrong decision at the wrong time. If you make the wrong decision at the right time, you can always kind of backpedal. But when you make the wrong decision at the wrong time, it's a double whammy, right? And you're going to be even worse off than not. And right now, with all these layoffs, and I've seen videos today actually of this Arizona cop actually evicting 5 people a day. And she said, oh, we expected this is like a tsunami of people that are being let go. And I'm just like, whoa, like, why would you lay this many, like, why would you have so many foreclosures? And said, got hardship of being let go. And so that's why these layoffs are so important, because we cannot keep doing these layoffs and think we still have a great economy. Yeah, profits are going to still stay up for a quarter or two, and then profits are going to plummet, because who's going to buy your junk? Who's going to buy whatever you're selling if nobody's there has money to buy it? Yeah, in theory, it sounds great. Yeah, I'll just, I'll sell it. In which market? in which market are you going to go and sell something? You just can't do it. And when I see like, oh, how's Switzerland doing? It's delayed. It's very, very much delayed. So Switzerland right now is still doing fine of what I'm seeing, but it's coming. I'm I'm slowly seeing it. It's a little more sheltered, but at one point it's going to be coming here like the US where AI is going to take over, and it's hard to do these artificial intelligence and AI development because it's all in English. And so it always takes time to translate, GPT and all these in German, and then, have it, be in German. So it comes out in the US market first, and then it kind of goes through it, right? So, yeah, you guys got to be aware of all these layoffs and what's going on in the market. And I know this is a little bit of a longer video that I'm doing, and I'm really trying to, pack in as much information as possible, but it's just so important that you guys keep the car payments, keep the job if you don't like it. And a huge kicker is that just because you get a new offer doesn't mean that they're not going to redact or going to pull it back and say, haha, sorry, we're going to pull the offer. You would not be the first person, because Allie was, had a coaching program before she started the community. And there were people in there that actually had offers, and then they were like, okay, I got my job. And they pulled the offer on a few days before they started, and was like, sorry, we couldn't, there was something else going on. And you quit your other job. So it's almost important to actually start the job and then, still calling sick on the other job. And then once you started, you should say, hey, by the way, I'm quitting today, so here's your laptop. And I used to feel really bad about this, but now I don't. Now it's like, nah, they'll send you an email on 4th of July saying that you're fired. So now I'm like, nah, you just need to make sure that your house is straight, that you have a roof over the head, that you have money, and whatever else happens. And you'd be like, oh, the 2 weeks, that's a courtesy. So let me know what you guys think about this, because man, we're in for a wild ride. Interest rates need to come down, because that's what stimulates the economy. If interest rates drop, we're going to see it flourish again. We're going to see hiring everywhere, but that needs to happen. So it's not a problem of not spending the money. It's a problem of people not having a job. And so, yeah, crazy. This was it for this video. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. If you have any feedback, let me know, and let me know what you think about this. And yeah, if you want to email me something, my email's in the about section of my channel. If you want to send me some articles, and yeah, send them to me, and maybe I'll make a video about it. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys actually listening. And yeah, so this is done with the video, and I'll see ya in the next one.